Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Under Hood Show. My name is Josh Profit. I'm the service director here at Mel Hambelton Ford, and alongside me this morning is Kelly Hamilton.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly. How is everything going for you this morning?
Well, busy. You know,
I understand that. Understand that completely. We've got a fill-in. We called an audible, and here we are. So,
here I am.
hey, thanks for joining me this hour. But it is a call-in show, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and talk about, anything automotive related that you want to talk about. Please give us a call, 316-462-3673. And let's talk about whatever that is. I've got a list of things that I wanted to go over today and discuss and talk about. But this show has been known to be derailed and head off in whatever direction that may be. So if there's something going on in the automotive industry, wanting to talk about new products, vehicle maintenance, your car's not quite acting right, maybe need a little help on trying to figure out what's going on, features and functions, want to talk about anything like that, please give us a call. 316-462-3673 is the number to jump on the air here with us. And for each and every caller that calls into the show, we mail out a package. So it's valued at over $130, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. As part of doing that works package, we're going to do a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety related components on that vehicle, making sure that it's geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen. I already said that one, so you got me there. Yeah, I said that out of order a little bit, so it stumbled me up. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil. And then 44K for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So, hey, let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. What I wanted to talk about this morning was, as a to the callers or to the listeners out there, is that if you have ever had a vehicle, on the sales side of this of the automotive industry, you always hear this when somebody's looking at maybe purchasing a vehicle as well. I'm planning on keeping it forever, or I'm gonna drive it, for a lot of miles. You hardly ever hear somebody say, I plan on driving it just for an interim bit and then kind of getting rid of it. And so I wanted to know from any of the listeners out there, one, what's the longest that maybe you intended to keep a vehicle, but then the shortest amount of time that you actually kept it, for one, and then two, in keeping a long vehicle, how many miles were you able to drive something before something mechanical broke? Or maybe you had a very good experience and you kept it for many, many miles and never had any mechanical issues, from that side of it too. And so good, bad, any different, kind of what's your story on a vehicle that you purchased that you'd either the intent was to keep for many miles, and then either you didn't end up keeping it, or you kept it for a long time, didn't have any mechanical issues, or you had a mechanical issue and wish that you would have maybe got rid of it sooner than later. And kind of where I'm headed with this, obviously, is the maintenance side of that, because, if somebody has a story or something that, hey, I planned on keeping this for a substantial amount of time and was able to do that, but didn't have a lot of mechanical repairs to it, they probably took care of that vehicle different than vice versa.
Correct.
And that's definitely, walking in and out of this shop all day long, and I know you get the same thing down there on the quick lane side of things, is just seeing the difference of what good preventative maintenance does for somebody. And that's we talked about extended warranties a couple of shows ago. In my mind, uh, as far as an extended warranty goes, that's like probably number one criteria, right? So yeah, you can get an extended warranty to help cover things that when they do break, but the first plan of action or first arm of defense is to not even get to the point where they're gonna break. And maintenance is huge in that aspect of being able to do that. Walking through this shop day in and day out, I see so many vehicles of, man, if we'd have took care of that a little bit different or
Right.
done something different there, that repair never even would have been here.
And I was going to say that we see so many in here that you can look at, and preventative maintenance.
Hmm.
It The car wouldn't be here for this repair had the preventative maintenance been done.
So it's been quite a while ago, but I put kind of, well, no, were you in here? Yeah, I think you were in here that day too, actually. And we talked about kind of just in what we see day in and day out of
Yeah.
what the number one thing that you think
Yeah.
customers maybe lack. And I think more than anything anymore, it's just people being busy, and don't they run so good. The vehicles they don't, there's not a lot of mechanical breakdown
The
stuff like
the
that,
the
and so
the technology has
Mhm.
just increased so much to a point. The technology has added increased reliability to these vehicles, lowered maintenance intervals, lowered maintenance cost, everything like that. So, it's very much a mindset for most people, myself included, of you jump in, you start it, and you go.
Well,
Like,
unless you need gas,
right,
right,
right, right.
or to use the bathroom, and then other than that,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
good to go. And then so technology is obviously one thing, and then I think too, um, awareness is a lot different now than what it was
sure.
20 years ago or 15 years ago.
Yep.
Um, I've had the opportunity or about the age where kids so like my son has a potential of taking driver's ed. He's not taking it because he's already got his license and stuff like that, but in visiting with some of his friends and talking with them about going through driver's ed, some of the things I was asking was, okay, well, did you have to go through and check fluids on the car? Did you have to change a tire? Did you parallel park was the other thing. And on all three of those questions, it was, huh, I just got the deer in the headlights look of, huh,
Really.
and to me, I mean, that's part of somebody being able to drive, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that just the awareness of what the needs are of a vehicle being serviced is not there like what it used to be.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
if there's a light comes on, then I need to do something about
Right.
it. Other than that, just drive,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I talk all the time about um, that's one of the very first things I do getting in and out of a car. I can think of being in cities and hopping in an Uber, and I always look at the dash, see, okay, how many check engine lights, how many low
Yeah.
tire lights, like what's on there. I look at the odometer and I'll look up at the oil change sticker.
Yep.
Like those are just a knee jerk reaction, but it's just because I'm in the industry, right? But
Sure.
in more often than not situations, something needs to be addressed in that
Right.
equation.
Right. Yep.
And from the consumer point, yeah, I get it. It's just because of being busy, is the main reason as to why, uh, as the main reason why those items are there or things are there. And if the car still goes, hey, why not?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in your mind, in the on the maintenance side of things and on the quick lane side of things, what are some benefits of somebody using our facility as opposed to going to a Jiffy Lube, or even trying to do it themselves? And I don't discredit anybody that wants to, change their own oil or
Absolutely.
do brakes, because I think it's extremely important to have a common working knowledge of what's going on and how the vehicle works and
For
stuff like
sure.
that. But I've got a situation that I want to talk about somebody kind of doing a project on their own vehicle. But in your experience, like what's a benefit of somebody coming here and having us perform a service versus doing it
Well,
themselves?
so I mean, there's a lot of benefits to doing that, but the biggest one that I can really touch on, and that is really the most important, that I think the value kind of gets overlooked sometimes, is the multi-point inspection. You know, having not only a person, but somebody who is looking at these vehicles day in, day out, looking at all these systems on your vehicle, everything like that, and having them go through and, you know, being able to know where your brakes are at, where your tires are at, where that oil or transmission fluid, whatever, is starting to seep, before it becomes a leak, before it becomes an issue, before it becomes a breakdown on the side of the road, ultimately. And, having that, and having the ability to plan for those future repairs, future expenses, and everything like that, that is, that is just such a overlooked benefit of bringing it into a facility like ours, and having that thing looked at. And there are a lot of places out there you can go to change your oil, to get your oil changed,
100%.
everything like that.
Yep.
Um, a lot of those places, they're you're driving over a pit, and they're dumping your oil, filling your oil, maybe even while you're still sitting in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And but we're not getting the tires off of it. We're not doing all that.
So we're going to talk more about this here in a little bit, but let's go to the phones, and we're going to go to the phones and talk to Jason. Jason, good morning. You're on live with Under the
Good
Hood.
morning, Jason.
Hey, morning, guys. How are you?
Good, good.
Hey, so, I've been coming to you guys for years for all my maintenance and stuff. And, I used to think that the dealership was overrated. It's too expensive. But let me tell you from experience just from coming to you guys. And I live in Augusta. And that's how much I trust you guys to make that drive for all my maintenance and everything.
We sure
But I have a
appreciate that.
20P Ford F-150. And let me tell you, this truck is so sophisticated that I think anymore you have to go to a dealership because, for one, you're keeping up with the Ford specs of the vehicle. Number two, you can track the maintenance on your Ford Pass. So I think going to the Ford dealership is probably the best thing you can do for your Ford vehicle.
Yes.
So
Yes,
there's
sir.
my 2 cents.
Well, we appreciate your business, Jason, and coming here and getting that thing serviced with you. And you're absolutely right. It is crucial bringing it into a dealership, especially one that new. Keeping up with the updates and everything like that, and the factory maintenance on that vehicle.
Hey,
And another question,
yeah, go
and
ahead.
one more question I had too is, I'm Facebook with the Ford F-150 page and everything. And I see a lot of questions, should I get the 2.7? Should I get the 3.5? Should I get the 5.0? Can you guys kind of break that down and explain that a little bit more to what people, are looking at with the different engines and stuff?
So I got this question just the other day, and it so
They're all just great platforms.
that they are. So
know.
from a durability standpoint, the 3.5 has been out since 2009. It first came out in the Taurus show, or was it the Flex? I don't remember.
One or the other.
It was the Flex or the show, and
Yeah.
then it started in the pickups, I think, in 2011. And that 3.5, the EcoBoost, has been a tremendous success, in my opinion, as far as reliability. We just don't see very many of them. As far as like complete failure or catastrophic failure,
Right.
like next to none. As far as reliability. And then my other thing with that is, as far as like torque and horsepower, and like it outperforms the V8. But then you have guys that, one, can't wrap their head around a V6 over a V8 and want to have the V8. So there's, in my mind, two reasons why you would do that. One is the sound. If you just absolutely cannot get over the sound of a 6-cylinder versus a 8-cylinder pickup. And then the second thing is if you were somebody that towed a higher tow capacity or towards the top end of what those trucks offer, the 3.5 has more torque and horsepower and towing capacity. But if you're towing a lot and for fuel economy purposes, that V8 I think would get a little bit better fuel economy towing heavier loads over long durations. So if you're towing once or twice, or a certain lower percentage of time, I would still go with that 3.5. But if you're going to be towing a lot all the time, for a fuel economy purpose only, then I would venture back towards the 5-liter. Now the 2.7, it's been out a lot less amount of time.
It's a lot newer.
But it's basically a baby 3.5. I mean, essentially it's set up the same way.
A lot of the same technology went into that engine that the 3.5 has already proven over years and years and years. And we don't want to, I don't want to talk about Josh's dirty word here of tuning or anything, but I have seen some folks do some pretty crazy stuff with both the 3.5 and the 2.7.
Well, and they hold together, right?
And produce some dyno numbers and quarter mile times that I never in a million years would
out
have
of a 6-cylinder.
Yeah, out of a V6.
Yeah,
and they're still driving, still running around.
Now, in addition to that, or going back to that 2.7, I think it's again there's a market. It depends on what you're using the vehicle for. If you're not towing much and you're looking for something that's more economical and fuel economy, by all means, the 2.7 is kind of the better way to go. That's my opinion, kind of on the platform of those motors. So, and then I had a question for you, Jason. And maybe I'm wrong with this, but I think in previous conversations, you're a teacher, correct?
No, I'm first responder.
Oh, first responder. Okay, I'm sorry. I must have been had you confused with one of our other callers. So,
no, you're good.
I was just going to ask you, but it doesn't apply if you're not a teacher. So have you purchased a vehicle, or so take this 22, for example, when you purchased it, the intent of owning that vehicle, was it, hey, I'm going to own this thing forever. I'm going to put, tons of miles on it, or in the past, have you done that? And then that was my intent, but then the reality was in 3 or 4 more years, hey, and newer, nicer features, that truck looks pretty sharp, I better trade, or have you owned?
Let me tell you, I found this 22 online, and I bought it, and I just bought it in January, and it only had 26,000 miles on it, and I was like, man, that's almost like a new truck, and I couldn't beat it. And I got to tell you, this thing has everything you can imagine, because it was special ordered originally. It came out of Arkansas. But in a way, it's got way too much truck I would ever use it for. But, if I ever did decide to tow something or buy a boat or something, this truck is well equipped for it.
Yeah.
But you never know, you never know when you're going to need it. But like I said, I mean, I've been keeping this truck for a long time, because I mean, why would you get rid of it? If it's got everything and fully loaded, why would you want to get rid of it?
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier, if you keep up the maintenance, if you keep up, the suggestions of, hey, this needs to be done, I think you could probably get good 300,000 miles off a truck if you keep up the maintenance and everything.
Oh, absolutely. These cars today are running longer and more miles than they ever have. And that's why preventative maintenance is so important in getting all the miles you can.
Did you go back to the early 80s and look at the Ford F-150s back then, when you could change your own spark plugs, where you could do all this stuff? But let me tell you, the way these trucks are, I mean, this truck is so computerized, it's ridiculous.
Well,
you can't even do that now.
So you're right on as far as being able to do that, or kind of work on those then, but look at the reliability of that truck.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
in an 80 versus one now. You know, you take a 1980 pickup, and I mean, the number of warranty repairs that were probably wrote on those trucks were, I'm going to say 2 to 1, if not 3 to 1.
And you're going to be hard pressed getting 300,000 or 400,000 miles out of one of those.
Yeah, you are, for sure.
Right.
So yeah, I understand that completely.
Yeah. Well, I've been coming to you guys now for about 5 years, and to do all my maintenance stuff, and I have no complaints. I mean, you guys do great work. You're very upfront, and I trust you. And that's really hard to say about somebody right now.
Glad to hear it, Jason.
Well, we definitely appreciate the business and appreciate the phone call. So, previous to this 22 or in previous ownerships of vehicles, have you owned one maybe long, or wish you would have maybe traded or got rid of it sooner than what you did, and it cost you a much larger repair?
This is my third Ford F-150 I've owned, and I've been happy with all of them. And the longest one I've ever kept was 10 years. And I bought my very first truck from you guys. And I just, I've just never gone back to anything else but a Ford, because, I really think Ford is the number one truck. And I like the way Ford designs their trucks, because when I was truck shopping, I looked at the Chevys, I looked at the Rams and the Tundras, and I could not get away from the Ford design, because I really like the way Ford designed these trucks. And they're American-made trucks, and they're number one.
I just couldn't agree with you more, Jason.
So,
I mean, everybody's got preference. Ford's got their problems.
Sure,
Chevy's got their problems.
Yeah.
But, that's why a lot of first responders use Ford trucks. These, fire business squads or ambulances are 550 models now. And it just, you just cannot go wrong with the Ford in my book.
Very good. Yep, very good. Well, hey, I appreciate the phone call and the comments and everything.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, guys.
Everything that the support that you give. So have a great day, and thanks for listening.
You bet. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Have a good one.
So a couple things. I got a couple of comments off of that, and then I want to kind of go back to what we were talking about. So my fault, guys, on the chat side of things. I had forgot and didn't have it up there. That's normally the right hand side's job. So we'll blame him. So but yes, Greg Murray says you get a power boost for the win. So yes, the power boost has been something, and I'm really curious to where they're going to go with that. I think you're going to see the electric side of that power boost increase and last longer and longer as far as to operate that truck in electric mode, standalone by itself.
Yes.
The onboard generator, in driving these around and having access to them and stuff like that, it surprised me how many times I've used the onboard generator in one of these trucks, thinking that that would be something that you would never use. But it's been definitely a lot more useful. But I think a guy's on a construction site, charging cordless tools. And I mean, we were looking at changing our air compressor around here in the shop from what it was probably, 10 years ago when it was originally purchased. And the number of air tools that are used today versus the number of that were back then, I mean, everything's going to cordless and electric and stuff like that. And so to be able to charge those is huge, in your vehicle. As well. So definitely agree with you on the power boost. And then what's the last comment there?
Jeff Daniel. Let's talk dirty. Tuning for the win. Tuning.
Man,
love it, man.
So I've even got another thing that I could talk about on that happened this week of somebody that, it wasn't a gas or a 2.7 or a 3.5, but it was a diesel, and they went through and put, deleted the DEF and
really
tuned it all up, and now they need a motor. So my thing with that is on the tune side of it. If you're looking for reliability or dependability, don't do it. Do not do it. If you're looking for, you want to have fun and you're going racing and you're looking for the next weakest link, get her done and be ready to go when that when you find that next weakest link, right? That's kind of my big thing. So, hey, let's go back to the phones here and hold on just a second. Yeah, let's go back to the phones and talk to Brooke. Brooke, you're on live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So a couple of years ago, good morning. A couple of years ago, my husband and I bought a 21 King Ranch, and there's a badge on the back that he says is loose. I don't really pay attention to the cosmetics of things like that, but that's kind of his job. Is that something that would be covered under the extended warranty to get fixed, or how would you recommend going about rectifying something that's a little loose?
Gotcha. So there would be probably a couple of preliminary, questions, and then obviously probably seeing it would really help answer the question. So I'm assuming with it being a King Ranch that it's there. When you say the back, are you talking on the tailgate itself?
Correct.
Okay. And there is on the back of that thing, so it's like a tailgate placard. So it's all along the whole side of the tailgate.
Yes.
Okay. And it's you're out of the 336, so it's over 36,000 miles or 3 years.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah. So if it was loose or coming unattached and it wasn't from any, outside force or anything along those lines, the 336 warranty would cover it. Typically probably not going to see extended warranty cover it because it would be considered like a cosmetic appearance, but that's also not to say that there might not be one out there that would cover it. It would just be a matter of finding out, exactly what the part number is and running that base part number in the system.
Exactly.
But then the other thing that I would want to know too is, if we were able to look at it, then we would be determined it may just be a matter that it could be re-adhered to the tailgate,
Right.
and you don't actually need any parts or
Right.
anything. It would just be a matter of reattaching it. So it's something that we'd be more than happy to help you with. As calling into the show today, you'll receive the package that we'll mail out to you, but I can throw a diagnostic on there for that as well, and that's something that we can take a look at
perfect.
for you and see what we need to do to get it tightened up. Because
that would be great.
Yeah, definitely something that you don't want to let go too long and then the thing freaking fall off coming down the road. And then,
Right.
If you don't have it, then there's no way to reattach it for sure. So
exactly right.
But yeah, be more than happy to
Okay.
take a look at that thing for you and see what's going on with it. But you don't notice it at all. You don't hear it rattling or anything going down the highway, or
No.
Gotcha. Yeah.
No.
Well, we'll get that package. Nope. We'll get that package mailed out to you and get it fixed up for you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Perfect.
Guys.
Thanks for the call.
See you later.
All right. Bye. Yeah, that's one of those things. Again, walking through the shop on a day-to-day basis of, well, if we would have caught that a little sooner rather than later, maybe wouldn't have had an issue of it being completely gone or completely missing.
It falls off.
So understand that. Okay, so
Jeff's still going here. What about the upgraded turbos, intercooler?
I think Jeff just wants to go fast.
Jeff, all those are great mods and everything like that. And again, you kind of got a set of scales here. And what Josh is talking about, he's right. And you're dealing with reliability versus having an awesome time and going fast.
Well,
it's a
yeah. So my thing with this is like, what do you want to achieve?
Right.
What are you looking to achieve? And if it's I want to go fast, okay. I want to go fast is there is no end to that.
Yeah.
There's an end to the expense of I want to go fast, of how much are you willing to pay to I want to go fast. And right out of the gate, there's just doing a tune on something can make it go so much more faster. But
especially when you're dealing with forced induction.
Yeah. Well, and then fuel mileage is the other thing. Like if looking for better fuel mileage, so here's my take on doing anything to a vehicle. Yeah, he says not fuel miles. I know that, but here's my take on anything fuel miles, or if you're gonna do any type of modifications to a truck to achieve better fuel economy. Don't you think the manufacturer would have done that if it was reliable?
Right.
If it over a course of 10 years or 100,000 miles, if it was consistent, reliable, and the manufacturer could get 2 more tenths of a mile, a gallon out of it, like they're under such strenuous cafe ratings and stuff like that, like it'd be on there. There would be no doubt in my mind that they would put it on there. So okay. So,
we got
yeah.
Tim in there now.
We got okay. Buy a Shelby truck if you want a fast truck. Well, okay, there you go. Yeah, that is a thing. And then it says, do these upgrades void warranty if done at the dealership? Okay, so just because something's done at the dealership doesn't
Right.
mean that
Ford is going to
doesn't
back
mean
it.
that Ford is going to back that warranty. What I will tell you is we're in the process of doing, a lot of these regular cab trucks, 4-wheel drives, putting superchargers on them and stuff like that. And we provide as upgrade, because we're doing it, there's a additional warranty that's put on them because of the components that they have on the vehicle. But no, when you start modifying stuff from its original design, original program, stuff like that, you're taking you're now the owner of that warranty.
Here's the deal. I am Jeff, I am a huge proponent of tuning, of pushing vehicles to the absolute most I can. That doesn't matter. I had a King Ranch F-150 that was fairly ridiculous. I've got a Super Duty now that's well north of 1,000 foot-pounds. But that being said, that has cost me a lot of money over the years. Blown differentials, shelled turbos. Like what Josh is saying is that manufacturer's building these vehicles to be reliable well into the hundreds of thousands of miles, for your everyday consumer, and have that reliability and that trust to run these vehicles. Now, taking a vehicle and modifying it, number one, no, in a lot of cases, it is not going to be covered by warranty. But also, you're kind of taking that, you're taking a risk, you're taking a liability, and there are a lot of different companies and individuals out there doing these tunes and writing these tunes and everything, and who knows who they are, how much automotive experience they have, how much tuning experience they have. Did they write a tune that's going to melt a piston out in 20,000 miles?
So okay, so we can talk about that side of it is, yeah, it'll run right now today, but it's not running right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not doing everything that it needs to do, and you're overheating, that piston. And so
sometimes it feels really good. Like it feels like it's running really good. And you don't know there's an issue, until that fuel mixture's just, it's going a little too lean under certain conditions, and causing higher combustion chamber temperatures and everything like that. That's going to cause damage later on down the road. After that tuner's way in the clear, and you've forgotten who even tuned the thing.
Yeah, you call that it's running a little hot.
Yeah,
but it ran really hot.
Yeah,
and it was good.
Yeah,
for a little while. We've got a little dispute going over here on our chat line. I don't know. I hope this might get serious here before too long. Sounds like we need to get these two guys at the drag strip. Right. What it sounds to me like. They need to figure it out on there. I will say there's a comment on here, and now I don't know who is the better driver, but I will say that there's a lot of times where the driver is what's going to make the difference, right? So as these vehicles get more and more modern, and there's traction control and all these other systems involved, maybe that's a little less true, but also I have fell asleep at many a drag strip lights, and it didn't matter what I was driving. It all came down to this guy.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like being in front of a crowd of people and falling asleep at the light. For sure. Yeah. I don't know. Is it better to red light or fall asleep at the light?
Red light.
Really?
Red light.
You
Every
think
time.
so?
Yeah. Yeah. You're just ready to go.
Yeah.
You jump
You
the gun a
don't.
little
So
bit.
nobody will penalize you. You think for jumping the gun? But
Yeah,
if you
I'd
almost view the red light as like a cheat, you're cheating though.
okay. I mean, yeah, of course it doesn't count or whatever, but I would rather red light than have anybody be able to look at a dirty reaction time.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, very good. Well, hey, I wanted to recap or go back on a couple of different things. Early on in the show, we talked about the purchase of a vehicle, and it's common to see people, hey, I'm looking for a vehicle, and I want to keep this one forever, or I'm going to drive a lot of miles on it. And so I was looking for somebody that had some experience with that either one kept it. Yeah, no.
No.
Okay,
no speed limits here.
Yes. Well, we're not going to talk about that
probably,
either, though,
yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah. So in the left lane doing the speed limit, that is not me. For sure. So recap was that if you purchased a vehicle and the intent was, hey, I'm going to keep that thing for many miles, and then that didn't happen, or you did keep it for quite a while and it ended up causing a mechanical breakdown or an issue of some sort, and you wish you'd have got rid of it sooner than that. I was kind of looking for a story along those lines, which brought us to the maintenance side of things. And then one of the other things that I'd talked about was pretty cool. We were talking about the driver's ed and how just a general education of automotive anymore is not what it was, years and years ago. And I had one of the guys listening, or callers, one of the guys listening, texted and said that, so he's from a smaller town up north. Says we have a life studies class, so it's through the school, I'm guessing. And it said they came to shop, and then they showed him how to change a tire and check fluids and stuff like that. And I don't think there's near enough of that in schools at this point now.
Sure.
Even automotive classes, you're starting to see them come back more and more.
Yes.
But there for a while, there were so many of them that were going by the wayside.
Yep.
And I think it's important to get education back out to people. One, just to know that, hey, this is a plausible industry, right? Like you could easily get into this industry and be and it be a lucrative industry or a career path for sure. But then also just general knowledge of what to do in a situation. If you're traveling out of state and you have a breakdown or need to change a tire. Now, the flip side of that too is anymore you see more and more of these new production vehicles don't even have a spare tire in them.
Right.
You see a lot of them, but also the reliability side of that is it's gone up so much. You can rely on tires or depend on them,
and especially
like
when you're bringing it into a place that's going to check
yeah.
all those systems out for you every 5,000 miles and tell you right where you're at.
That's gonna look that over for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, very good. Well, had a lot of great comments in the chat. We've talked quite a bit about tunes and modifications of vehicles and stuff like that. And hey, I am an advocate for definitely personalization of a vehicle, right? To buy something and make it just like all the other ones that are mass produced. When it comes to accessories, I mean, we could spend probably a whole hour just talking about that. you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
putting accessories on a vehicle. And
Oh,
by
yeah.
that, I'm talking, you know, wheels and tires and bug shields and all that stuff. But in so many of those cases, I've seen,
AutoZone has that whole
yeah, see, that's
aisle
what
of
that's where
chrome
I was
stuff.
headed with that, is if you're gonna do it, there's do's and don'ts in that.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're buying a reputable product. And what I will say is, I mean, just even in
Enhancing your vehicle, not detracting
correct.
from
Well,
it.
and we could talk about it just on wheels alone. How
Yep.
many wheel options are there out there?
Yep. Absolutely.
Huge. And how many times have you or I been involved in a situation where it causes a vibration, right?
Not just a vibration, but you know, somebody slaps a set of aftermarket wheels on their car because they look cool and it's a no name set, and we get a ice storm, and lo and behold, one of those wheels, bam, and they're discontinued. You can't find one, and
Yeah.
it's a full new set of wheels, you know.
Yeah, that does happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
My point to that is, again, it's it's along the lines of you get what you pay for, just like I think in every other industry for sure.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely one of the things for sure, whether it's an accessory on the vehicle or a service that's being provided or a repair that's being made. When you're looking at, you know, accessory or aftermarket parts or stuff like that, is there's a difference. There's a difference in the
Absolutely.
quality and what's there to you. Got another comment on there about PPF. You know, that's something that's come a long ways. That stuff's been around for, you know, a while for sure. But I can remember our early on stages, you know, it would yellow and haze and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
It does a great job and worked really
You
well.
could see it on a car from a mile away.
Yeah.
The whole
Okay.
front clip
So
done.
kind of pre PPF. How about the brawl, the car brawl? You
I
know,
don't
we're
know.
talking.
You're way older than I
Oh,
am, so
yeah, no. So I just it was this week I was going home and I seen a car that had one on it.
God,
It
I
just
have not
blew,
seen
yeah,
one of those in a
just
minute.
blew me away. And man, there for a while that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the thing. And I'm
Used to
sitting
see
there.
them all the time on the Grand Dams
Yeah,
and
so I had a
Grand
Camaro
Prix and
that
stuff.
had one on
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah.
I had one on there is because the paint was messed up already on the front bumper
Oh,
fascia and everything like that.
covering the damage.
And it was,
I get it.
it was way cheaper to do that than it
Yeah.
was to fix it. And so that was out of necessity. But I think of, well, and that car would be a perfect example, but how much damage that thing did. And you'd see them going down the road and
Yeah.
they were never latched in and it was just sitting there
Yeah.
beating the heck. Yeah. And it was just the other day I was going home. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. And I happened to see one on a car and I was like, man, I
That's
haven't seen
wild.
one of those in
Yeah.
forever. Like it's been, I don't even know that you could still get it. So,
You know, PPF, not just for cars either. Like, my perfect example, my golf cart. My golf cart, I've got a custom golf cart, and it's a metallic blue paint. And I meant to get it in here several
to get it.
times, and we were going to do the PPF on it and stuff. Well, then winter hit, and I'm one of those weirdos that still like to go golfing in the winter. And you know, I put my cover on my enclosure on my golf cart, and
Gotcha.
I just took it off the other day, and I have like 5 spots around my cart that have rubbed into the paint. I was so upset.
Yeah.
And PPF would have no problem.
Would have prevented that.
Mhm. Yep. How fast is the cart? It is not a lithium yet. But with the wheels and tires lift and the batteries, it runs about 24 mile an hour
For what reason?
to get to my ball fast.
That's how far out of whack it is.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to get to it and
a
get
lot
it
of
back
times
on
it's out of
course.
bounds. So, when you're going 2 fairways over, you got to hit real quick and get back over
Gotcha.
there.
So
Yeah.
you can get out of everybody else's
Exactly.
way. Yeah, that's that guy driving in the
Yeah.
left lane going the speed limit right there. Well, this is kind of derailing quickly. So I think we're gonna kind of wind up here. Hey, thanks to all the listeners of the show. Thanks to all the chat in the chat line. Kelly, thanks for hanging out with me this hour. It's definitely been a lot of fun. You can have a list of things 5 or 6 deep and get to the one and whoop, there you go.
Yep.
Like your golf ball. It's
Yeah.
over there in somebody else's way. So, but yeah, thanks to all the loyal listeners and everybody. Have a great day, and we will talk to you next Saturday.